Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back, or welcome to another Bangs audio review. Today, I have the CVJ Aria Qimeng for you. I've spent some time with these now, a little bit more time than normal before I do a review, but we ran into the Thanksgiving holiday and then family stuff and putting up holiday lights, Christmas lights. We celebrate Christmas. I know not everybody does, but we do, and like to have the lights and the tree and all the good stuff going on. So I'm still in the process. This is probably the biggest light display I've done in years, and I'm only about 2/3 of the way done with it. But I figured it's been days, like several, since I did a review, and I have had the pleasure of listening to the Aria quite a bit through that period of time. And I think, might have been just a little bit harsh when it came in, and I was in the middle of testing the Penon Fan3 for review, and just wasn't really fair. $350 IM versus a $80 IM. It was, I was kind of like, well, it was a hard landing. Yeah, it wasn't so hard. It wasn't. It just, it takes that day of, just sort of the recovery day after you do the review and you just kind of like chill out. That's not the time to put a new IEM in, because that you're already adjusted to the one that you just reviewed and listened to for a few days. So giving it till the next morning, and also listening a little bit to the Estrella and seeing, there's some differences, and that's a very good set too. It finally sort of just came back, like sort of reintroduced itself to me, and I in turn reintroduced myself to it, and we ended up getting along famously, to be quite honest with you, way better than I expected. So there are other Arias out there. I'm sure you know of the Moondrop Aria original and the Aria 2, right? Which the 2 got quite a bit of acclaim. I think the original Aria did too, for being excellent performing IEMs for their price point, which is under $100. This 2, around 80 or so, 70-ish on sale. Personally, I like the Qimeng Aria version, the CVJ, better. Because I like the other 2 Arias, but I feel like they're a little bit on the safe side, a little bit too neutral for me, not enough excitement. The Qimeng offers lots and lots of excitement, in addition to tuning nozzles, cotton damping if you want to take the edge off the treble, a modular cable that's absolutely gorgeous. We'll get into it. I'll do the unboxing here for you, but why don't we get some specs out of the way first. It is a single dynamic driver, 10mm nano crystal coated, and you've got the dual magnetic circuit, so it's probably pretty like sort of Tesla style. So you got a pretty good amount of magnetic electromagnetic energy happening there. As far as the numerics go, here we go. Sensitivity is 110 decibels, impedance of 28 ohms, and frequency response they just call 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Totally fine. The cable is super nice. It's only a 4-core, but it's 400 strands, so that's 100 strands per core. That's pretty easy math. Oh yeah, and there's the price, $79. So I think I got mine for $72 on AliExpress, but obviously this is the Linsole site. They're available there too. I'll link that up. I purchased these with my own money. Nobody sent them to me for review. Nobody asked me to say anything. Right. So whatever your favorite store is that they exist on, you can buy them there, should you decide you want them. The unboxing, it's nice, it's like kind of going from pretty simple unboxings to something that has, a cardboard picture on it that I like could put on my wall, or this is probably going to end up in my son's room, honestly. I think he's going to love it. So, and some, nice, a story on the back, about an elf and freedom and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's really cool. I'm not going to read it all. That's for you. You could probably find it on their website too if you want. But I like this a lot, and obviously it offers protection. The IEMs were here, there. Your tuning nozzles are here. I ended up with the gold. Even though if you looked at the graphs on the community section, you'd think I would have gone with the blue, but I didn't, and I'll tell you why. And then 2 sets of ear tips, which for this set I really had to have the more cylindrical shape of like the Divinus Velvet or the Divinus Velvet Wide Bore or Osla Crystal. I needed something that had a little bit more, yeah, like that. Just for a good fit. There were a couple of reasons for that, but my ears are a little bit funny in shape too, so that didn't help. But yeah, a couple of nice sets of ear tips if you've got more normal ears than I do. And then underneath the box you had a cable. It's the CVJ Candy cable, by the way, that you get, and that is a $30 regular retail price cable, if you're wondering. Here's your foam, little foam damping things you can insert. You unscrew the nozzles and slide those in, should you so desire, if it's a little bit too bright for you, which it could be for some. I could see that. Nice that they include all of this stuff, so you're getting a lot in the box for that price, I think. It's late in the day to have coffee, guys, but I gotta have a little sip. Just a little bit tired from the past few days. So anyway, maybe I'll frame that for the kiddo. There's your unbox. Hey, look, Dyna Quattro's next. Yeehaw. Don't fall over. Here is the set. What do I have on there now? Asla Crystal tips. Yeah, that was fine. There's a significant amount of mid-bass to these, so the crystal tips were just fine with them. I don't really notice a lot, if any, of the bass being taken away by these tips, but some people say that they do, or they experience it, so, not just say that. So it could for them, but for me it didn't. For me, I got a really good seal, and a very comfortable one at that. So, medium on the right, medium large on the left, as per usual for me. I'll take these guys off so we can have a little look at the cable first, and then we'll talk about the shells. So here's your Candy cable. It's pink and blue. It's freaking beautiful. The pink doesn't bother me a bit. I'm comfortable enough in my manhood at 53 years old, that I can wear pink. I can rock the pink. 2-pin, 0.78, and then one of my favorite things, the modular termination. Oh God, what did I do with the? Oh, I know it's around here somewhere. The 3.5 is around here somewhere because I used it to graph this. Got to be still in the box there. How did I miss that? I'll figure that out later. Anyway, not your worry. And really not mine, because I'm using it with 4.4 anyway. I did not really find it hard to drive, but I like 4.4. Can't help it. It's Zeos's fault. Very clearly marked for right and left, red right, blue left. Has a nice chin slider that does indeed stay in place, but is not too difficult to slide up and down. These little things, the finishes. CVJ there, high polish. Almost feels stainless steely, but it's probably aluminum. Yeah, I would say that's probably aluminum. And then the shells. And the shells are metal. The shells are like high-grade CNC aluminum, for sure. They have a nice little design on the faceplate. This really nice blue color is just, I think it's gorgeous. It does remind me a tiny little bit of the Z300, HBB and Bilan or Blan. They're collab from a year and a half or so ago. But these are a lot more technically proficient than that set. That's just a really fun, warm, bassy set. These have more than just bass going on for them. And we'll get into that in sonic impressions. But overall, the build is very nice and exceeds, I think, most expectations for an $80 set. And the fit is, well, to me, it was fine. It just fits inside of my outer ear without any sort of, contact points or hot spots. But I think that if your ears are a little bit smaller, these could end up putting pressure on that part, like the cavum, tragus and antitragus, all that kind of stuff. They may not fit as nicely into people's ears who have smaller ears on the outer ear side of things. For me, they were fine. I mean, but barely. I mean, there's probably not more than a couple of millimeters in between the outer, edge of the outer shell here and my ear. So close call. But a good fit. Yeah, excellent build too. Venting, no pressure buildup problem whatsoever on these. They design it that way on purpose. And because of the venting, you're not going to get an incredible amount of isolation. So, when I was doing the dishes, I could hear the water running. I could hear my son yelling while he was playing video games if I didn't have the volume turned up too much. So it does let some outside noise in, and in that respect, might not be the best for commuting or playing. Well, I think once you're at cruising altitude, you'll be fine. But yeah, they're not the best at noise isolation because of that venting. But the venting, it does a really nice job of letting you listen to them for a really, really long time. And I think it does have something to do with the bass being as smooth and wonderful and yummy as it is. So, puck case, I don't know why sometimes these get a bad rap. Some people don't like them. To me, I think they're great. I mean, it's basically waterproof. It's heavy duty. They're not going to get crushed. They're not going to get wet. I mean, I suppose if you took them scuba diving, they would get wet, but it's I don't care. This is a sub $100 IM, and I've seen worse cases, and I've seen no case. So if it comes with a puck, comes with a puck. I have no problem with that. That's fine. That is just fine. All right, let's bring up the graph. So you guys won't see the difference in this, so I'll just tell you that the left channel is the lower and the right channel is the upper. They're both green, dark green and medium green. Channel matching is not perfect, especially once you get up into the upper treble, but it's close enough that I couldn't really tell a difference. I wasn't like, oh, this one's got more bass, or this one's brighter, or anything like that. I think that's good enough. Like I said, if I noticed there was a huge imbalance, I would let you know, but I didn't. Having them both in at the same time, I didn't feel like one side was favoring favored over the other. So yeah, it follows pretty well, even though what looks to be about a decibel difference between the two. And you guys can see this. The mid bass hump, that's a hump. It really does have a bit of punch to it. And surprisingly, even though it looks so rolled off, let's go down to 10 to 200. It did rumble a little bit. I was surprised it picked up the drops in Agony by Slaughter to Prevail at 230 and 245. It picked the rumble up a little bit. I was not expecting that. But they did, So, overall, I would call this set moderately warm, a little bit bright, and with a really, really nice amount of mid bass to it. It is a freaking fun set. Now, overall, just a very enjoyable, engaging listen. The one part of it that I think makes it better than the Arias, makes it better than the original EA500, and at least on the level of the EA500 LM, although slightly different tuning because the LM's got more sub bass and is a little bit smoother in the treble. I would put it on that level of quality, about equal to, and I think the LM's a great set. So that's a compliment to this set. If you can keep up with that, which to me in a lot of ways was the sort of standard bearer for single dynamic drivers under $100, I think this does a fair job of keeping up with that level of sound quality. What I think is going to either entice some people, well, it's going to entice some people, or it's going to, dissuade some people from being interested in getting this set, is the treble. And the treble's got some spice to it. It definitely has some sparkly air, little fairy dust. But I like it. Like, to me, it wasn't fatiguing. It could be to some, if you're treble sensitive, if you have ears that are 30 years younger than mine, and you're treble sensitive, it could be too much. But for me, it was like, it really brought out detail, retrieval, like, to a nice, like, very, very respectable level. And also open up the stage a little bit. And, if you're a fan of a little sparkle and air, you're going to be happy, because it doesn't lack in that whatsoever. But and honestly, if it hadn't been for this, if it hadn't been for the mid bass, it probably would have been too bright for me. Because I remember the Tiandrin TD20 was too bright because it didn't have the bass to balance out the treble. And the same thing with the TRN Medusa. Same thing, just not enough balance to the set. This, I think, balances really, really well. But you have to understand, I'm not going to call it hot, and I'm not going to call it spicy, but I am going to call it sparkly, and I am going to call it energetic in the treble. Like I said, for me, personally, I like that, because I like getting the details, and I like, I don't mind it. And listening to metal with these was just fine. Like, it was just fine, even though cymbal crashes all over the place. I could hear each individual cymbal that Danny Carey was hitting, or Chris Adler, or Brand Daler from Mastodon. Like, I could hear, it was very, like, if you're a drummer and you want to hear, like, the tuning of the drums, each drum, and the difference in each cymbal, and those second, third, fourth harmonics coming off, like, you're gonna love it. Also, with acoustic music, or like something like Champagne Problems by Taylor Swift, with it's just the grand piano and her singing for most of the song, you can hear, like, the pedals that she's pushing down and lifting up as she's playing. I think that's a pretty cool detail to pick up. And it was nice for female vocals too. And again, male vocals had enough power and weight to them as well. I just really find this set to be, well, it was a surprise. It was better than I was expecting, and it was less fatiguing than I was suspecting, although I think possibly this could be too much for some up top. That's about the only knock I could really give it. And all of this was, this is on the gold nozzle. I'll mention the other two nozzles. The silver one I found to be too much up top. I found it to be too spicy, not enough bass to balance it out. So the silver was out. The blue was the one I thought I was going to like the best, but it ended up being not open enough in the treble. Almost like the treble was being pinched. Like, it wasn't allowing the driver to actually show what it could do. It was kind of like holding it back. And that's how I ended up on the gold filters for it. Now, you've got 3 filters to choose from, so if you want more treble, you can use the silver. If you want less, you can use the blue. To me, the gold was right in the middle, perfectly balanced. Just a really enjoyable listen. So, would I recommend these? Yes. I think that's a safe bet. I think they're one of the better sets that I've listened to for under 100. Certainly, 80, 79. Like, this cable alone is worth 30. And it's what do you call it? Kellen, what's the word I'm looking for? Modular. Is it modular? Are you gonna say something?
Can you I'm hungry. Can we have pizza?
Yeah, actually, I was just gonna come up and make pizza for everybody as soon as I'm done.
Okay.
And I only have about 5 minutes of time left, so actually, I'm just gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
All right, kiddo. Love you, buddy. I'll see you up there. All right, time to make pizza. Yes, I would recommend them. I think they're, entering into that $50 to $100 area, I think they hold up extraordinarily well. I think that they have really a great selection of accessories, and well above average cable in the CVJ Candy, which is modular. I'm trying to trying to articulate. The build quality is excellent, and yeah, the nozzles, the cotton, damping, if you want to put that in there, and a decent case. And I really don't know how much you can ask for, how much more you can ask for $80, because it has everything you need. Unless you have weird ears like me, and then you got to get other tips going. But that's personal, and I always do that anyway. So that doesn't affect my overall recommendation, whether the tips are good or crap. If they're terrible, I'll mention it. If they're exceptional, I'll mention it. But by now, the average everyday included silicone ear tips are okay. They're serviceable. You should always have a good set of tips on hand. Find out what your favorite is, and make sure you've got a few extras, because I think comfort's a big thing, and the proper seal is the biggest. So just little pro tip, I guess you could call it. Get good tips always. I think that's going to wrap it for today. I got to go make pizza for the gang. No more Thanksgiving leftovers for this household, at least not tonight. So gonna go get the dough and the pepperoni and the extra cheese and the sauce. And if I haven't made you hungry yet, well, the fact that I coat the bottom of the crust with olive oil, garlic, oregano, and sea salt, that'll probably get you going. You guys have yourself a wonderful evening. I missed y'all. I'll be back sooner this time. Dinah Quattro is next, and yeah, we'll see you soon. Be careful, be safe, be nice. Love y'all. Nothing but peace to you. We'll see you real soon.